Until recently, I was obsessed with competitive games, and I have neglected many great games over the years. Because of that, and because competitive games just don't do it for me anymore, I've decided to ascend, to see what the other side of gaming looks like, the open world, single player, story focused, highest rated games of all time side of gaming. So far on this channel, I have played Oblivion, Skyrim, and The Witcher 3, and they have all impressed. With so many titles available to choose from the list, one kept staring back at me, almost menacingly. I know nothing about Dark Souls other than that it is talked about as one of the most challenging game series to have ever been released. As with the other games, I will enter Dark Souls 1 blind. No tips, no guides, nothing. I want my first time to be pure. We're going in raw, no protection. I don't care if I catch something, which I did, by the way. I caught something and it's been a bit itchy ever since. So with nothing to do besides load the game up, let's do this. I am sure there's a correct answer on which class is the best for a new player, but I have no idea what that is. So I slammed Bandit with the pendant item as my gift. It says the pendant doesn't do anything but comfort, which, if the rumors are true about this game, I might need some comfort. After a brief intro sequence which told the story of how the world has slowly found itself succumbing to darkness, I woke up in my cell at the Undead Asylum, ready to find out everything there is to this game. I got to work reading these red scar things on the ground, which gave some tips on how to fight, and while I was messing around with the controls, I heard something in my right ear. Who is moving so heavy? Okay. Wait, what are these blood stains about? What is... Okay. I guess he's just gone. This is where I got taught my first valuable lesson about Dark Souls. You're not going to beat this game without dying. Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. I did 1/40th of its health. Now, I had higher hopes of surviving more than just 4 minutes, but I was more mad about the fact that I couldn't figure out how to jump. I tried to change it, but no matter what key I remapped it to, my feet stayed on the ground. I skipped it for now, and I went back to the boss. Now, the third time I went into the room, I noticed the door on the left was open, and I went through. Do I have to even kill him? No, I can't. Next, I grabbed my shield, which took a solid 60 seconds to figure out how to put it on, and then I tested it out. I know this might seem a bit of a slow start, but I don't want to look too dumb in the tutorial. Always go upstairs first. Never mind, you bitch. And that's when I noticed my health bar wasn't regenerating. Do I not recover HP, like, ever? What? Thank God for these red messages on the ground, because the options menu has no info on any combo attacks like the plunging attack or critical striking or how to parry. Parry and riposte was something I wanted to try right away. I did not riposte. Dude, move! All right, we're about 30 minutes in, and I am already feeling clumsy and almost embarrassed at how bad I'm doing. I am not normally this dumb at video games, I promise. I took a quick peek over the balcony to see what type of world we're dealing with, and then I went through the white light. Asylum demon. Oh my God! Am I dead? I'm just dead. The second time, I figured out the plunging attack, and more important than that, the boss lost a bunch of health, and I felt instant relief knowing I was never supposed to kill the demon in the first encounter. With quite a bit of luck, I killed the first boss of Dark Souls. I know, thank you, yeah. Oh, you guys are too kind, thank you. After that, I walked to the edge, got picked up by a bird, and was brought to the beautiful area of Lordran. Man, I love a good cinematic. But little did I know the horrors that awaited me. I talked to the dude who was chilling at Firelink Shrine, and he told me there are 2 bell towers, which both need to be rung. Great, we've got our first mission, and after reading each and every tooltip of my character stats, I leveled up endurance. I hope that was the right move. One of the first things I did was attack Petrus, which is a theme that will continue throughout my playthrough and will eventually lead to my downfall, but more on that later. I couldn't kill him, so I headed the other way up the hill. Wait, what is this? Haha, you just got hacked? What? I knew Dark Souls was a hard game, but getting scammed in the first 5 minutes was not what I expected. Well, thanks to today's video partner, NordVPN, I was safe. As gamers, we are chronically online and are probably the most at risk when it comes to cyber attacks. I personally fell for a phishing attack when I was younger trying to get free gold on old school RuneScape. If I had NordVPN's built-in phishing scanner back then, it would have automatically prevented that website from harming 10-year-old me. Right now, NordVPN is running an exclusive deal with content creators specifically. If you click the link in the description or go to nordvpn.com/bindvpn, a purchase of their 2-year service will include 4 bonus months on top. The phishing scanner is not all that NordVPN offers. It's also the fastest VPN on the market with features like the dark web monitor that alerts you if your password or credentials appear on hacker websites. It also has a threat protection feature which blocks malware and ads on sketchy websites, and it has so much more. Now is a great time to get Nord, so head over to nordvpn.com/bindvpn. Again, that is nordvpn.com/bindvpn to get 4 extra months of NordVPN. Thanks again to Nord for partnering with this video. While that was going on, I killed a bunch of skeletons and actually made it quite far into the Undead Burg before dying. But these 3 hooligans made sure to test my ability to handle more than 1 enemy at a time. And I couldn't. I was sent back to Firelink Shrine. Damn. Dying is punishing. I'm sure everyone who plays this game for the first time gets attached to their first big drop of souls in enemy territory, and I was the same. I would not lose those souls, I said confidently.
Run.
Now, I won't lie, it's kind of a miracle that you are seeing this video right now. There was a point in these first few hours where I nearly quit. I died to the skinny skeletons. I died to the ones with the shields. I died to the one who seemed impossible to get through. I collected thousands of souls. I would die, and then I would die again on my way back. I have never in my entire life felt this bad at a video game. After 4 hours, I'm still at the beginning of the game, dying to what I can only assume are some of the easiest enemies this game has to offer. And I couldn't stand it. Why would anyone subject themselves to this stupid gaming experience? I feel like I wasn't getting any better, and for me, that was worse than the constant dying. If I just close out the game and never go back, I could pretend it never happened. But somehow, through painful determination and an uninstall button that was nearly pressed, I managed to get through the Undead Burg and onto the bridge. Looking at how I titled this clip, you can guess where my confidence levels were at. The second attempt was even worse. I killed the archers this time, but despite my big brain play of realizing I have time to climb the ladder for a plunging attack to start the fight, I whiffed. But the Taurus demon did not, and I was swiftly booted off the side of the bridge. Okay. One thing is for certain, if I am to have any chance in this game, I will need to first get over how angry it makes me. I do not do well with failure, but if any game is going to teach me how to deal with that, I bet it's this one. The next attempt, I landed the plunging attack, and then I realized, why can't I just bait the demon back to the other side, run back to the ladder, and do it again? It felt good to get past the demon, but I made a mistake while looking for the bonfire afterwards to save the game. Anyone who knows this game well will know the mistake I made, but I had no idea at the time. I was feeling a bit confident after beating the first boss, and I wanted to try battling the big armored guy one more time in the Undead Burg before moving on. Okay, I just might never beat this guy. Yep, I'm dead. Oh? Okay, I'll take it. I'll take the kill. It was a rocky start, but the next few hours of gameplay showed signs of fun. It took about 8 hours, but I think I'm starting to get a sense of what it takes to succeed in this game. You absolutely cannot go fast. You cannot overpower or outspeed. You can only be patient and take your time. I had a big perspective shift at this point. As much as I wanted to believe I should be farther into the game by now, I learned to chill out and enjoy the learning process. I even learned how to parry. At least one time. I also learned a very important lesson. You have to pay attention to your surroundings, because there are a ton of secret areas and items to find in this game. And who knows, you might even find a ladder that cuts down your run back time by like 5 minutes. Oh my god. By the time I got to the church, I was about here on the Dunning-Kruger graph, peak of Mount Stupid. I felt like the game was getting kind of easy. I'm parrying attacks, I'm moving with confidence. I even predicted that the free piece of loot probably wasn't that free. But just as you get used to the enemies, the game introduces a new one. Or two. What the f is that? I was teleported back to the bonfire by the ladder and had to work my way all the way back. This time it was fine because I remembered a chest I wanted to loot, but the walk back is actively testing my patience. I would do anything to be able to save at any point that I wanted. When I located the bonfire at the Undead Parish, I was ecstatic. It's like finding water in the middle of a desert. I went down below and met the blacksmith and then a mini boss. He clapped me. So far, my shield has been a great asset, but on a guy like this, it felt useless. It seems like you can't parry him, so what are shields good for other than the smaller enemies? Well, it turns out they are good for quite a bit. The next few tries, I went in with curiosity instead of the goal to kill. Common sense says I should not be able to absorb any hit this guy throws at me, but it was surprisingly effective. It felt like if I used the shield right, I might have more windows to attack. Although it wasn't perfect, the near hour of attempts on this guy proved worth it. I got a lot better at dodging and making sure to not shield all the time. That way you can regenerate stamina. Let's go. This is what I needed. I learned so much and things were starting to click. Maybe I do have a chance at this game after all. After that fight, I decided to head back to the church area and did some exploring. It blew my mind that the church connected to Firelink Shrine. I did a little bit of looting in the secret area above the shrine, then made my way back towards the top of the church. I figured ringing the bell wouldn't be easy, but I was not at all ready for this. 3 of them. I'm cooked. That time spent on the mini-boss near the blacksmith prepped me well, and I gotta say, my first attempt wasn't too bad. I managed to get both of the gargoyles to about half health before I was burned to death. But my first attempt was easily my best one. Is that a thing in Dark Souls games? Like, you're better on your first attempt than, like, the next 10? Because after that first attempt, it went downhill. Like, as downhill as that cheese wheel race they do in England. But this time, I was okay with the constant dying. Dark Souls is slowly conditioning me to accept that instant success in a new place is out of the question. But even though my patience was getting stronger, I reached my breaking point. I'm genuinely kind of fucked here. Holy fuck, I can't do it. I can't do it. As aggravating as it was, I couldn't stop playing, and eventually, I took them down. I literally clapped for myself. Fuck you, gargoyles! As I climbed up the stupidly long ladder to the bell, I thought to myself, I really hope that was the only 2v1 boss. I found Oswald at the bottom of the tower, and this is where I wish I was able to Google stuff because I had no idea if any of the items that he sold were worth purchasing. But it didn't matter if I wanted to buy anything because when I tabbed back into the game from saving the clip I just took, I clicked the screen and my character attacked Oswald. He was pretty strong. He even parried me, and when I returned, he was still angry. I really hope this won't come back to haunt me later. I left the tower to head back and spend my souls, and while I had a quick moment to breathe and relax after the gargoyle fight, I realized that despite the non-stop dying and irritating run back, this game is great. Dark Souls is teaching me to slow down, to be extra cautious, and because of the downtime you earn from dying, the self-talk you have in your head on the way back to a boss can really shed some light on any anger and failure issues you have. Though I am thankful at the moment to Dark Souls, I know I might not feel that way soon. Does anyone else think Darkroot Garden is one of the coolest looking places in the game? The green jungle vibes are dope. Now, when making my way down to the Darkroot Basin, I ran into an enemy that resembled the same one I saw in Undead Burg. I died a few times, but I figured out the best way to deal with him was to lure it to a bigger area up the mountain. And instead of trying to run away from him constantly, I got behind him and did critical damage. And anytime I did need to heal, I walked up the slope. It felt a little cheap to do it this way, but is there really Dark Souls etiquette I should be concerned about, or do you beat this game by any means necessary? After taking him down, I was awarded his halberd. Compared to the halberd I was using now, this one had a lot higher attack power. I noticed I couldn't use it because I required more strength and dexterity, but at least I finally had some direction on what I should level up. I also found the Grass Crest shield, which said it increased stamina regeneration. Did I just find the best shield in the game? So far, the game has not given me any direction on where to go, but I stumbled into the Valley of Drakes, and it was pretty obvious I should not be here yet. Oh, they have a lot of health. I should not be here. I went back up to Darkroot Garden, where I found a big door and a red scar thing on the ground that told me the wall was an illusion. I don't know how to feel about these tips. I'm happy they are there because, well, I probably would have missed this bonfire, but they are spoiling some of the fun. As for the big door, it said it was locked by some contraption. Now, this is where I have an issue. A contraption, to me, sounds like a physical mechanism that is most likely nearby, keeping the door sealed. Because of this, I figured I'd find that mechanism a bit farther ahead in the area, but I didn't, and then I forgot about the door completely. Oh well, maybe it's not that important. Now about that moth, I know this fight was supposed to be easy compared to the bell gargoyles, but I struggled to beat it. I was about to call pest control because the triple projectile thing caught my ankles one too many times, but it was mostly a skill issue, and I got through it a few attempts later. On the way back out, I entered another hidden path and found the wolf ring, which increases poise by 40, or in other words, the stat I think is the most important in the game. I feel bad for the people who refuse to explore in a game like Dark Souls because almost every cool item has been hidden somewhere. And with that, I was done with Darkroot Garden and I headed to the next area. What? How am I here? Just like how my mind was blown when I took the elevator from the church down to Firelink Shrine, I could not believe I was back on the bridge with the Tauren boss. I don't know how to explain it, but the verticality and connectivity of the map is fascinating. If I play the other Dark Souls games, I really hope they keep this theme. And this is where I got lost. I searched and searched, retracing my steps, looking for any area I might have skipped over. The game led me back here, but why? Eventually, I found the door near the dragon bridge that was locked previously. I did not enjoy this area that much, if I'm being honest. It felt a bit claustrophobic, and the enemies were annoying. It reminded me of another video game zone. Anyone who's familiar with Stratholme from World of Warcraft might know what I'm talking about. But speaking of claustrophobia, we gotta talk about this horrendous arena choice for the Copper Demon. That made this fight really difficult. But if you remember the title of this part of the video, it's called A Big Success and a Big Mistake. The success was finally taking down the Copper Demon, who would have been an easier boss for sure if it wasn't for the 2 bloodhounds and a fighting area as small as a New York City apartment. I definitely got lucky to kill him in as few attempts as I did. Oh my god, I should not be alive. Ooh, okay. As for the big mistake, well, that would be attacking what I thought was an enemy behind the bars in the next room. I had no idea that this was an NPC willing to talk to me. Now, the consequences for this would not be immediately felt, but I'm guessing those who know this game intimately and have been paying attention might know where this is going. I headed down into the depths, which was an area I will never forget for the rest of my life. This maze-like zone filled with enemies had me feeling like Flor Delacour in the Triwizard Maze. One enemy in particular is responsible for my downfall, the frogs. They blow smoke, which doesn't really hurt, until this bar in the middle of the screen fills up from breathing it in. I died, and when I respawned, I noticed something quite alarming in the upper left side of my screen. Great, I'm cursed, and I have half my health. But even worse, there was a message that popped up that told me how to cure the curse, but I somehow skipped over that message and now I don't know what to do. So not only do I now have as much health as a tunnel rat, I am lost and I can't find a bonfire for the life of me. There have been plenty of moments where I have rage quit for a few hours or felt demotivated to play, but this time was way worse. I'm already struggling so much, there's no way I can beat this game at half health. This is a terrible time for a blind playthrough. With nothing else to do except keep pushing forward and hoping a cure shows up, that's what I did. Luckily, the next boss was easy. His gape might have been large, but his lethality was small. I looted the key to Blighttown, and after one look, I elected to hold off on it for now, to instead go and find some ibuprofen for this curse. I checked literally everywhere. We're talking 2 hours of searching. I know I said this was a blind playthrough, but I needed to ask for some help. So I got into Discord with my friend who has beaten the game and asked for a hint. The only thing he told me is that I definitely ran past the NPC who could help. Now, this is the big mistake. The merchant who sells them, well, I attacked her, and by the looks of things, she is not gonna forgive me anytime soon. And remember the other thing I did at the bell tower? I accidentally attacked the dude at the bottom when tabbing back into the game. I only learned that these two merchants sell purging stones because my friend felt bad that I couldn't find the merchants. But when I told him that I attacked both of them and I can't purchase from them, he just said, "Oh, rip dude, I'm sorry. I don't know then." There's good and there's bad news. The bad news is that I am cursed for possibly the rest of the game. The good news is that I now have the strength requirement to wield the Black Knight's halberd. This is a major upgrade to what I was using before. The damage is kind of crazy. So I entered Blighttown, and after a few deaths, I figured out how to deal with the big boys, but the skinny, spastic, crackhead dudes were not as easy. I also suck at using this halberd, so that did not help. Getting through this part of the game is going to test my patience. It's multi-leveled with tons of ladders and places to fall down, but there's also a lot of loot. I found some black leather gear and tried to put it on, thinking I would attack quicker or something, but I couldn't tell any major difference. I can't part with my other gear. Why would anyone ever want armor that has less poise and defensive resistances if you're a melee class? Especially now since I'm cursed. I need all the protection I can get. But the worst part of Blighttown has got to be these damned rangers spitting poison darts. I didn't even know I was getting shot most of the time. Like, I was totally oblivious. How am I still poisoned? What? I thought I died a lot in the Undead Burg, but Blighttown is pissing me off in a special kind of way. All right, so we got some flame spiders. Okay, they just blow fire. Okay. That's not what I wanted to do. Yep, okay, that's a great way to die. Come on. I'm taking a break, dude. I'm taking a break. When I got on again, I moved as slowly and cautiously as possible, finally reaching the bottom of the vertical wooden walkway part, only to find out the entire floor is poison. When I was checking out the gear earlier, I noted that the shadow set helps with poison resistance, so I slapped that on, which seemed to help a little bit. It took some time, but I looted every item on the floor that I saw and made my way to the other side of the bog, and I really thought that there would be a bonfire nearby, but the game had other plans for me. Dying sent me back to the bonfire that was basically at the beginning of Blighttown, but I wasn't even mad at this point because I was too busy going insane. Why am I here? God, dude. I had gotten so used to running back that I got a bit careless. Falling down was the best thing to happen because it led me to the bonfire that I would have never came across, and finding a bonfire will never not be euphoric. I mean, I was a lot more confident with a closer respawn point and made sure to check every nook and cranny of this place. Once I thought I had checked everywhere, I paid a visit to Quelaag. Ooh. I mean, wood? I think this fight would have been easy, but being half health meant I had to play perfectly. I learned the best way to kill Quelaag was to wait until the fire spewing attack, then take a few swings. I rang the bell, and the first objective of the game was complete. In the same area, I broke through another illusory wall and found a bonfire and a spider girl. I have no idea what covenants are in this game, but I joined this one. And I should have known, never trust a random girl on the street. You never know what you're gonna catch. I tried to get rid of my egghead by offering humanity to the girl, but nothing happened. Maybe this is somehow beneficial to me. I forgot about it for now and went ahead to the lava zone. I am still impressed at how good this game looks and how each area feels unique. I halfway expected this game to be mostly a shade of doomy gray, taking part in tunnels or dungeons, but this is a great alternative. The next boss I encountered was the Ceaseless Discharge, which is a nasty name. I don't like the combination of those two words at all. This boss became my struggle for a while, like multiple hours. You can only engage this boss with a projectile, and after a few attempts, I was out of those. So I went and looted the gear that was next to him, which only made the discharge even more ceaseless. I died, but when I returned, the discharge was no longer in its normal spot. This was a problem, because every time I ran up to it, it would blast a wave of fire that was, in my opinion, impossible to dodge. But I think I have Dark Souls brain now, because even as grim as it looked, I felt I had a chance. That feeling was right, and I found a solution. I had to wait by this pillar, then start running at a specific time, and that let me get face to face with the discharge before he attacked with the overpowered fire move. Problem is, the fight requires pretty much perfect dodge timing, and my 30-year-old reflexes were not good enough. I got squished for a solid hour, until I clutched up and had the best dodge sequence so far in my Dark Souls career. Let's go. And with that, I killed the discharge, but the real success came directly after. Something happened that would change everything. I checked out the armor I stole, the gold-hemmed gear. Then I noticed a secondary benefit to the gear. Oh my god. Why did nobody tell me this? It turns out, lighter armor does make a difference. A big one. I actually feel like the Flash right now. This might be a game changer. How is there no instruction or tips anywhere on the ground that explain how weight affects your movement? I'm cursed and can't get hit anyway, so I was wrong to think that stacking defensive gear was the way to go. You don't need health or poise if you don't get hit. I found this whole next area to be pretty difficult, especially with such little health. Unless you're a veteran, overconfidence is a killer in this game. Dark Souls is forcing me to take a step back from the normal smash your way through gaming experience that most other games subscribe to. But I gotta say, when you play Dark Souls correctly, dodging perfectly and outsmarting the enemies, it scratches a gaming itch I did not know I had. There's a nice flow to it, and when you mess up, you know. I was a bit bummed out to reach the end of this lava area, only to receive a large flame ember. It says it could be used to ascend weapons, but I haven't figured out what that means exactly, or how to do it. Out of the 3 RPG games I've played so far, Dark Souls is the worst one to go blind into. I feel like I'm missing crucial information on how to succeed or where to go, what is overpowered, what ascension is, how to effectively fight bosses or learn to parry better. If there was ever a game to not play blind, this would be the one. But at the same time, looking up guides might make the game boring or spoil the surprise and process of overcoming a challenge. For instance, I would have Googled the quickest way to leave this godforsaken fire zone without having to deal with walking through the entire Blighttown area again, from bottom to top. Yeah, that would have been a nice thing to know. I died a few times, but eventually I made it back to the entrance area, hoping to never have to come through here again. When I left to head towards Sen's fortress, I had a thought about safeness in Dark Souls. If you can think back to your first playthrough, you were probably scared shitless. Yeah, you might have been 14 at the time, and I'm 30, but what I'm trying to say is that I'm always on edge because I am so unaware of what can happen next. This safeness I feel sprinting through areas I've already conquered feels liberating. It is rare to have that sense of safety in Dark Souls, so I try to soak it in whenever I can, because next up was Sen's fortress. I feel I'm at the point of the playthrough where I understand how to succeed, at least on a basic level. You need to shield against attacks, manage stamina, be patient and study attack patterns, and try not to take on too many enemies at once. I have learned a lot, and as strange as it is to say, this curse has low-key been a blessing. I should make one of those cheesy motivational posts on Facebook about it. But when I arrived at Sen's Fortress Gate, I met a new type of enemy, the snakehead fighters. So far, we've dealt with spiders, bees, snakes. Is Dark Souls trying to cover all of the major phobias? I'm pretty scared of the supernatural, so hopefully that won't be in the game. When I pictured what Dark Souls would look like, this is more what I imagined. The heart of the fortress was riddled with balls and traps. Surprisingly, I didn't die as much as I thought I would, but one of those times scared me shitless. I am not entirely sure, but I think I grabbed every piece of loot from the fortress, including the covetous gold serpent ring, which immediately earned a permanent spot on my finger. It increases item discovery, which, in my ignorant opinion, feels like an important ring to have for a blind playthrough. Also, I'd say 95% of the red scar tips on the ground are helpful, but a few of them are downright trolling. I cleared the bottom and moved on to the top part of Sen's Fortress, and while I was there, I found a rare ring of sacrifice. Oh my god, this is it! It said on death it would nullify the curse. This is why it pays off to check everywhere. Nullify? I know what that word means. Why do I still have a curse? Did I do something wrong? After taking down the giant and his giant balls at the top of the fortress, something happened to my head. The growth got bigger. I really don't know how to get rid of this, and I'm not even sure what it does. It feels like it's unhelpful, but then again, I got it from joining a covenant, so maybe it's benefiting me somehow. By the way, did I glitch the iron golem? He wasn't gonna be that hard anyways, but he sat there and did nothing after a few moments. I'll take a free boss kill either way, but I'm just wondering. Next, I touched the mysterious yellow light. Yeah, of course. More bosses. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my god. Yo, we have so much left of this game. Let's go. Dude, it's so cool. What? I don't understand. This world is so undead, and yet this place exists. I love Anor Londo. This place is so pretty. I was excited to explore the new area, but I remember feeling a tiny bit sad that this part of the game felt separate from the rest. But if Anor Londo is like the rest of the game, I'm willing to bet it somehow connects back to the past areas. I don't know how to explain how cool this place is in words, but finding out you have to take the support beam to circumvent the gap where the gargoyle was to get to the other side was pretty cool. I love a good detour. While I was in this area, I found an item that was promising, a divine blessing. It says it fixes irregularities, and I'm fairly certain that whatever is on my head and this curse are not regular. Am I just being trolled? Nullify curse, undo irregularities. What am I missing? If this is a simple fix, I'm going to feel so dumb. Cursed or not, I've reached a part of the game I wish to never deal with ever again. The archers. I was already a bit intimidated by their accuracy, but seeing the 3-foot-long arrow strike halfway through the skinny guardrails on the small walkway I was on made me flinch every single time. How are you supposed to get through this? I died and ran back probably 15 times, but eventually I got through. Finding the bonfire on the other side was one of the most rewarding moments of the game so far. One thing I enjoy in Dark Souls so far is how hidden powerful items are. Like, if you don't look around, you will miss something, and for a game as tough as Dark Souls, you almost can't afford to miss that chance. So exploring and clearing out zones with enemies is essential, and I think that's a cool way of incentivizing exploration. I found a dragon tooth, which looked to be a pretty good weapon, and Havel's armor. Havel's armor had high strength requirements, but maybe I'll make that my next leveling goal. I'm sure everyone watching this right now is familiar with this part of the game and where I am and what's coming next, but I had no idea. I found a white light at the end of the central hallway. Obviously, a boss was behind it. That boss was actually 2 bosses. Yep. Ornstein and Smough. I had a feeling this boss would be difficult at first glance, but I did not expect to spend the next 8 hours of my life here. If I hadn't already believed Dark Souls was worthy of its claim of being difficult, I would undoubtedly know it now. I died endlessly. Sometimes immediately upon entering the room. Sometimes I managed to get one attack in, but every time I wanted to smash my face through my computer. How is this a fair fight? 2v1 and they move fast and with deadly intent. Tack on my curse and my clumsy egghead and I feel like I am doomed to this place for eternity. I might have to restart an entire new character just to get through it. And so that's what I did. No, I'm just kidding. But I really wanted to. One temporary solution I came up with was to farm the knights on the way to the boss and level up my strength so I could wield the dragon tooth weapon. Oh my god, I literally... I must be overweight. There we go. What is this thing? Holy shit. Let's see what it does. Not that much damage. So I guess this halberd is just the best weapon in the game or something. I don't understand how a giant dragon tooth is going to be weaker than this. But this left me with only one option. Get good. It was a slow, painful process that probably would have been smoother if I wasn't so tilted, but my brain was starting to put the pieces together. The trick to this fight is to not get greedy and try to keep the two of them separated with help from the pillars. Then I found out that it's better to get aggressive to get in their face a little. It was a bit riskier, but it left more openings for attacks. And after a dozen or more attempts, I did it. I took down Ornstein, and now all that remains is a really pissed off Smough. But at least it was a 1v1. My nerves were firing at this point. I think I was actually shaking. I remember thinking in the middle of the fight, I'm too old for this shit. Things were going surprisingly great until Smough did an attack I had not seen before. Okay, it's official, I can do this. But then, just a few attempts later, Ornstein and Smough's gorgeous man-boobs met their timely end.
Yes! Come on! That was probably the least amount of fun I've ever had in a video game ever until right now. Oh, this game has a way of making you fucking pissed. Like you're gonna throw, break, destroy, or explode anything and everything around you. And then suddenly you feel on top of the world when you actually kill the boss.
I love Dark Souls. I feel like every single gamer needs to experience this game in some capacity. This might be a hot take, but playing this game as a kid, maybe age 12 to 16, might be the best time for it. The challenge of the game paired with the reward of perseverance and curiosity feels like a great lesson to learn early in life. Maybe I'm overplaying all of it. It is just a game, but maybe I'm not. Either way, Dark Souls has jumped to the top of my favorite games of all time list, standing alone in its own category. And I know you guys hate when YouTubers ask for this, but if this video somehow gets 25,000 likes, I will play Dark Souls 2 blind, just like I'm doing now with Dark Souls 1. But with Ornstein and Smough eliminated, the game just blew wide open. The princess gave me the Lord Vessel and the ability to warp. I had no idea where to go next, and after a bit of searching, I uncovered an entire area right below my feet at Firelink Shrine, New Londo. This place was cancer. At first I felt comfortable because the ghosts were one-hittable, but then I got into the tight corridors of the ruins and swiftly got gangbanged by an ensemble of ghastly spirits, wielding unnaturally long scythes with the ability to float through walls. I managed to take out every ghost and found a ladder to meet a man with a specific power uniquely important to my playthrough.
But not to worry. Such cleansing I am happy to administer, but the breaking of curses...
There's no way! I am uncursed! If I had known how far into the game I had to get through just to get my health bar back, I might have quit the moment I was cursed. I was so happy until I went into combat with a ghost, and I couldn't deal any damage. Bruh. Fuck you. It turns out, ghosts can only be interacted with when you're cursed, which I just lifted a few moments ago. I was so confused, and it took me way too long to figure out what was going on. Luckily for me, I had been wearing the covetous gold serpent ring, which, if you remember, increases your chance of getting drops. And pretty much every ghost dropped transient curses, and the tooltip made it clear enough that this is what I was missing. I got back to the end, flushed the toilet, and saw I was near the Valley of the Drakes. They did it again. I have a strange feeling that I'm being judged at pretty much every move I make in this game, but in this moment, being able to parry pretty much every single night, you would not be able to tell I was that new at the game. I made it to a white light, prepared to fight the 4 knights. Oh, it's a pretty cool rhyme. So, what is this staircase about? I feel like I'm in Super Mario 64, dude, at the endless staircase. Should I just jump? Of course. Okay, yep.
Like, maybe I do have to do that Lord Vessel thing first, because I genuinely have no idea where to go next.
Let's, I guess we'll skip New Londo for now? I don't even know. Okay, we'll do it. Oh, that thing's big. That was in my pocket the whole time? Okay. Yep, that's my face. So, I think there's probably one more boss, at least. Oh, there they go! Wait, where was that place, even? I never even seen that place before. I know that one. Okay. Now we can make some progress. At this point, I was kind of cruising. The first yellow gate area I went to was the lava one. So far, I have still yet to one-shot any boss, and that would remain true on the Demon Fire Sage. But on the next attempt, I succeeded. I'm not sure what part of the game we're currently at, but I feel like we're nearing the end. The time in between bosses was short, and this whole filling up the Lord Vessel thing surely meant we were finishing the final steps. The Centipede Demon was the next boss, and this was the first boss that I one-shot. I equipped the ring I got from the boss so I could walk on lava, and I entered the Lost Izalith. I really liked this area, but then I got to the Bed of Chaos. I had no idea what I was doing here until I noticed the left and right side of the boss had some sort of magical shield protecting it. My friend was in Discord with me at the time and summarized how my first attempt went.
I thought it was just a dark floor, dude.
This boss is dumb. The run back is stupidly long, and it might just be me, but I don't really enjoy gimmicky bosses. I lucked out on the kill attempt, getting slapped directly onto the root in the middle, and then I one-hit the boss. I really just expected that each of the 3 Lord Souls to have insane fights, but this one was Lyn. As I prepared for the next Lord Soul adventure, I was closing in on 50 strength, which I remember is a requirement for Havel's shield, which reduces physical damage by 100% and magic damage by 90%. Does that mean I literally take no damage as long as I have stamina? Oh, yeah, this might be overpowered. Excited to see what was next, I entered Duke's archives and instantly fell in love. Something about the aesthetic, high up on a mountain above Anor Londo, a lost library, kept in pristine condition for some unknown reason. Cool. The enemies here were pretty easy compared to the navigation. I was disoriented for a bit until I reached Seath the Scaleless and promptly got icicles in places I did not want them. I woke up in jail, broke out of said jail, spent another hour getting lost on the Harry Potter staircases, and outside to the crystal area. I really liked the invisible walkway in this area. After I looked around a little more, I found the correct pathway and suddenly found myself in combat with Seath. Yet again, I was not impressed at the difficulty level of one of the Lord Soul holders. Maybe I'm just getting stronger, and this is an intended reward from familiarization of the game's mechanics. Shout out to this halberd, by the way. I have no idea why it's so strong, but I still have not found a replacement for it. Again, I had no idea where to go next because I didn't know where the final door was. Also, there was still the mystery behind how to defeat the 4 kings in New Londo. I searched and searched for where to go, but nothing came to mind until I remembered the sealed door in Darkroot Garden. I totally forgot about that door, and there is certainly something in there that will help me progress. Unfortunately, I still have no idea how to open it. I left for the garden and searched for a literal hour and a half. All of this was happening while my friends were watching in Discord. They must have felt bad because they dropped a tiny hint. It was actually a big hint. That door, by the way, that door. I'm not getting into that door.
You're right.
I think you're so much closer than you think.
You're so close.
So you're saying if I make a dope ass weapon, I could probably get through it.
But I'm saying you are so close.
Okay, yeah, I might be a dumbass, but I swear I would have noticed this earlier if the door said it needed a key or a crest, or is even sealed shut, not that it was locked by a contraption. This was halfway my error, halfway the developer's error for poor word choice. Well, the area behind the door was full of loot and enemies, including one of the coolest bosses in the game, Sif. A dog with a giant sword in its mouth? Come on, that's badass. On my second attempt, I somehow glitched Sif near the entrance of the room. He dropped a ring that said it would help traverse the abyss. Wait. What is the abyss? I don't even know what that is. Now, I was stumped again. I don't know where the final yellow door is, and the only undiscovered area remaining was the spiral staircase for which I was still clueless about. My big brain remembered that the guy who cured my curse talked about the 4 nights, so I pulled up the clip I recorded from the conversation.
But the abyss is no place for ordinary mortals. Although, long ago, the knight Artorias traversed the abyss.
I immediately checked my bags and threw on the ring. This has got to be the answer, but it wasn't. The staircase was still the same. No new stairs appeared. But then I thought, what if I can survive the jump now that I have this ring on? Look, I never claimed I was smart. The 4 nights seemed pretty hard at first glance, but then I noticed a giant magic projectile, and that reminded me of Havel's shield, which blocks 90% magic damage. Alright, yeah, I think I broke Dark Souls. How could anyone not use this shield? It even blocked the giant AoE explosion. Being able to ignore basically every mechanic seems a bit cheesy, but after dealing with Ornstein and Smough while cursed, I feel I deserve this. With the 4 nights destroyed, I felt like I was nearly at the end of the game. The last place to find was the final yellow gate from the cinematic. I don't know how I missed it, but the last area to explore was the catacombs, literally right next to Firelink Shrine. I was so happy I saved this place for last because I detested every moment here. Why on earth do these skeletons keep respawning, and why are they so fast? It was also impossible to navigate and oddly claustrophobic, but nothing compared to the next area, the Tomb of Giants. Oh yeah, I killed Pinwheel, but he was hardly a boss. This place was hell. I'm gonna say it, every video game that has a zone where you can't see where you're going at all should not make it through development. I hated it in Pokemon in Rock Tunnel when I was 5, and I hate it now. And don't get me started on the damn skeleton dogs. I'd rather almost deal with Ornstein and Smough down here instead of these things. Through sheer luck, I made it out of the tomb and saw the hole in the cave, just like the one from the cutscene, and I knew I was in the right place. I got to Nido, died, and was sent back to the tombs. Is this really the walk back to Nido? Surely I'm missing something. I managed to get back to Nido a few times, but the boss itself was hardly the problem. The respawning skeletons were the issue. I had to find a way to beat Nido while simultaneously dodging the skeletons. The only way I could see this working out was to bait Nido's attacks into the 3 skeletons near the entrance and make sure to not go to the back of the room where more skeletons were waiting. That seemed to work, and when pairing that strategy with Havel's shield, Nido was fairly easy. And with all of the Lord Souls collected, it was time to open the door. This must be the end. I killed every knight, and I was about to enter the white light, but on the ground I saw a tip that said, try parrying. Am I just being trolled? But then I saw Gwyn, and he wasn't really a large boss, and he uses a sword, so maybe I can try to parry. Okay. I mean, what is that, dude? A fire sword? Okay, if you can parry the boss, how would you have time to do it? He attacks so fast. On the second attempt, however, I landed a parry, and then I landed a second parry. I can't believe you can do this on the final boss. Well, for some reason, the second attempt was all luck. Over the next 4 hours, I just could not seem to land the parries consistently enough and died horrifically while trying. So since I couldn't figure out how to parry consistently, I tried Havel's shield, but that wasn't working particularly well either. And this run back is awful. Eventually, I came up with a foolproof strategy. If I stood about arm's length away, making sure to not put my shield up because he might try to kick, I can bait a standard attack and time the parry. He has 2 attacks, technically 3. If he didn't try to grab me, he would either attack with both hands like this from his right side, which was a bit slower and easier to parry, or he would attack with one arm very fast, which I could block with my shield and then parry his second swing without having to react as quickly. And only a couple of tries later, I landed 4 parries and 1 regular attack.
Yeah. Come on, that's how you parry. Let's go, dude. Let's go.
That was honestly, Dark Souls, amazing game. Amazing game. I've never, well, I've been addicted to video games before, but I haven't been addicted to a video game in a long time. This one, I just had to keep playing. I'm so proud of myself, man. That was hard. That was not an easy game. Yo, look at this. We've reset the flame. Is that it? I honestly feel like that is the most Dark Souls way to end a video game. Playing blind was the way to go. This game is what, 15 years old soon? I am sure I made 100 different mistakes or didn't optimize my build or whatever, but it was nice to enter new areas of the game with no expectations or guidance. I got an authentic first time playthrough. I want to remind you of the 25,000 like goal, which if it reaches, I will play Dark Souls 2 blind, just like this video. And with that, my friends, thanks for watching.